with means that reach our inmost being. Universal is his light, so pure and so intense that grosser beings need a veil to take his rays. His elect are ever absorbed in prayer and praise and deeds of love. Unlike the children of darkness, struggling in depths profound of vanities false, all nature sings to the glory of God, and men of fraud and hypocrisy are but rebels in the kingdom of God.
It is a beautiful surah. What is your take on it?
That there are many layers of understanding beyond that, and that as beings of light, we are coming ever closer to Allah through our own will and effort.
Beautiful. So in Sufism they talk about light and darkness, not the same darkness that we hear in say movies and the way it advocates to sort of prejudice against other people. Darkness is dealing with the material life because we know we are made of soil, air, water, and fire. Now this combination of four contradictory substance making that darkness. So there is a struggle within these four oppositions anyway. There is an amr, there is a decree that allows these things to sit next to each other and form a face or surat. So when you look at the world, our domain and the other domain, it does divide itself between light and ignorant, light and the darkness. They call it zulmat, oppression. Some people come to some political understanding of this oppression, that there are oppressors. Sufi's understanding of Holy Quran is that the oppressor is not outside. The oppressor is within you. It is inside you. And that is a kind of oppression that does not allow light to shine into your heart. So there is a division. They call it the hijabs or layers of veils. Now, if God is light, that light is so powerful that would burn you if there was no veil between you and that divine. But at the same time, the divine says, look, I am the beloved and you are the lover. We are seeking union. You put one step forward, I put another step forward toward you. So the veil is not from me, the veil is from you. Lift those veils so you could wither into me. Wither to me in love and light, not in ignorant and lust. So this is the process. You cannot, if they lift the veil for me tomorrow, I burn, I will be destroyed.
Are you speaking of another kind of ego annihilation?
Of course, yeah. So once you get rid of the egos, jealousy, hatred, the kind of self stuff, then those are the veils. Those they cannot survive in the light of God. If the light shines at them, destroys them, and consequently destroys you. So it says, okay, get rid of these veils. The veils on you. Drop them. Get rid of them, and then you prepare yourself to join me and wither into me. It's a process. It can happen all at once. So how do they describe it? They say, okay, here's a seed of an apple tree. We always talk about this. You put this seed in the ground. All the tools necessary for this apple tree to grow is within that seed. It holds it all. All the knowledge is there. For example, you put a seed, doesn't matter, 2 meters down, still grows upward. It knows it should not go downward. It has no knowledge which side is light because it's so heavy, buried in there.
But has all the power of potential.
Yes, because there's a decree says, come toward me, that law, attraction. Now, as it grows into mud, dirt. They call that kasif. Kasif means the material world. So it grows. It uses that nutrition. That's us using and experiencing the material world. Its lust and its greed and jealousy, all those, we have to go through it. You can't say, oh, if you don't have that name, you don't know what it is. The reason we react to bad people, because it is in us, we know it really well. Otherwise, if you didn't know what it was, it wouldn't bother you. It's just like if you go, for example, to a far distance village who have no lights or electricity, you talk about computer, it doesn't bother them. It doesn't, but it has to be in you. You have to have those disposition in order to react. So, and it is necessary. You shouldn't say, oh, it should not be there. It's part of that material made up. It's an attraction toward all these idols that is around us. We are to be socialized, we need to expand. So it's an experience, but they tell you, do not capitalize on it. This is passes, do not put all your effort into it, because this is just a passage. So look ahead, do not lose yourself. So for the seed to grow, it may be delicious underneath, there may be soil and nutrition and water for it to survive. It cannot remain under there. It has to grow. It will grow upward. As it grows upward, it comes from darkness, kasif, into latif, right? So at the moment that the spark of this vegetation comes out a little bit, and that moment is come from the world of kasif, the world of mud, into the world of light, because the sun is shining on it. So it enters another world. And you see those vegetation that's so tiny and beautiful. It survives things that we may not survive. The wind, the tornado, it survives it there. So he understands that he has to go toward light. So the Sufis say, you must break away, separate your light from your darkness. You must get rid of that ignorance that oppresses you. Nobody outside you can ever oppress you. The oppression happens within. So you have problem with those people who call themselves Muslim and they're always talking about people oppressing them. That is not Quranic, that is not Islamic. The only one who is capable of oppressing you is yourself. Sell you to the commercialized life, to the violence, to ignorance, and all kind of aspects. So you must break that, become light, join the light. Once you join light, you're no longer particle, you become part of that wave. And that wave does whatever he wants. That waves, as we talk about, annihilates, gets rid of the ignorant, reproduces. Annihilates you as light, and then reproduces you again. So what do they Sufi call it? They call this qalb, heart. Ya muqallab al-qulub. Qalb or heart is that thing that turns. They call it qalb because it's qulub. So it turns to the material life, it turns toward God. It turns this way, downward, to bring balance between both our spiritual domain and our material need. It doesn't mean you give up on all the beauty that God has given you on the earth. You're not going to give it up and deprive yourself. You understand how to bring balance, because greed kills you. If you have too much money, what are you going to do with it? If you have too much food, I mean, it only kills you. Blood pressure goes up, fat. If you have too many rooms, what are you going to do with it? So it's about balance. The whole ideology works on the balance.
To clarify, returning back to qalb with regard to the heart, I'm thinking of, would it be true to say that a heart-centered approach would also very much embrace the intellect?
Sure. The heart is
we're not talking about emotion here. We're talking about...
Yeah. With heart, obviously, they say we move from a state of qalb into del being soul. Now, once you clean and purify the heart, that is no longer material. It becomes a place where it can host the Lord, right? Doesn't the Quran say, I offered myself to mountains and stars and planets, they could not bear my weight. So I offered myself to the heart of mystic. So once it offers itself, so once you clean it, shine it, it becomes the place. And that brings balance between our intellect, which is again material, is a studying of physics, into relationship between heart, mind, works together, and that's where one person gets to balance. So in Islamic philosophers, they talk about when you die, there is a bridge between here and the other domain, and this bridge is very, very narrow as a hair. Now, in order to pass it, you must have a balance. In balance, if you have a balance, like those guys who walk on a string, they hold a piece of wood to balance.
Sure.
You need that to pass and not to fall.
It's a very high wire.
High wire. So this is zulmat and this is light. So I would appreciate if we have a poem by Rumi.
Certainly. Every moment, a taste of that beauty in our mouths, another stashed in a pocket. Impossible to say what, no cypress so handsome, no sunlight, a lonely hiddenness. Other pleasure gathers a crowd, starts a fight, lots of noise there. But soul beauty stays quiet, Shems and his amazing whereabouts, unknown inside my heart.
Very nice. So let's go back to the subject of light, Kasif and Latif. Now, we cannot completely get rid of at a certain stage, get rid of all the zulmat or the darkness or those areas of ignorance. Because even if you look at the apple tree, it still has this much under soil, under that darkness. The roots are holding there. So you cannot separate it totally. Light can only make sense in a subject with darkness.
For contrast.
That's why we need to experience those darkness. If you come to this world, then you don't experience any of those. So what you know? I mean, if you are angel, well, this world is not going to serve you. You must experience it. So this is our journey to appreciate both our material life and spiritual life, bring balance and understand light. So light becomes wave under observation of those people who are not mystic, becomes material, becomes particle, because he has a knowledge. All the knowledge is within the light, and that's hopefully in the light of God we all start a journey. Can we have one more poetry? Yes.
There is a sun star rising outside form. I'm lost in that other. It's sweet not to look at two worlds, to melting meaning as honey melts in milk. No one tires of following the soul. I don't recall now what happens on that manifest plane. I stroll with those I have always wanted to know, fresh and graceful as a water lily or a rose. The body is a boat, I am waves swaying against it. Whenever it anchors somewhere, I smash it loose or smash it to pieces. If I get lazy and cold, flames come from my ocean and surround me. I laugh inside them like gold purifying itself. A certain melody makes the snake put his head down on a line in the dirt. Here's my head, brother, what next? Weary of form, I come into qualities. Each says, I'm a blue-green sea. Dive into me. I'm Alexander at the outermost extension of empire, turning all my armies in towards the meaning of armies.
Well, it's the end of our program. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Imagica Film Productions, Vancouver's newest and most exciting production company located in North Vancouver. Imagica offers a wide range of production and post-production needs, including studio space, green room, white room, lighting, cameras, sound engineering, and editing. Contact us at 604-689-4624 or visit us online at www.imagicaproductions.com.